Good Friday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Friday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with entrepreneur and author Will Roundtree. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In Mississippi news, 1/3 of Mississippians have been vaccinated against COVID-19. The state health officer said about 1/3 of Mississippians have been vaccinated against COVID-19. The Mississippi State Department of Health reports 1,780,904 doses have been administered in the state. Dr. Thomas Dobbs spoke to the Jackson Rotary Club this week. He said about the same number of people, about 1/3 of Mississippians, have had COVID. Dr. Dobbs says some people who have been vaccinated are still catching the virus. The small number of people who do get COVID after the vaccine have a much less lower level, so they are not likely to be contagious or much less likely, so even in the minority of people who might get it after the vaccine, they're going to be less sick for sure, but also less likely to spread it around. In more COVID-19 news, fully vaccinated people can largely ditch masks indoors. In a major step toward returning to pre-pandemic life, the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention eased indoor mask-wearing guidance for fully vaccinated people on Thursday, allowing them to stop wearing masks outdoors in crowds and inside in most situations. The new guidance still calls for wearing masks in crowded indoor settings like buses, planes, hospitals, prisons, and homeless shelters, but will help clear the way for reopening workplaces, schools, and other venues, even removing the need for mask or social distancing for those who are fully vaccinated. We have all longed for this moment, when we can get back to some sense of normalcy, said Dr. Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC. The announcement comes as the CDC and the Biden administration have faced pressure to ease restrictions on fully vaccinated people who are 2 weeks past their last required COVID-19 vaccine dose, in part to highlight the benefits of getting the shot. The country's aggressive vaccination campaign has paid off. U.S. virus rates are at its lowest rate since September of last year. Deaths are at their lowest point since April 2020, and the test positivity rate is at the lowest rate since the pandemic began. Walensky announced the new guidance on Thursday afternoon at a White House briefing, saying the long-awaited change is thanks to millions of people getting vaccinated and based on the latest science about how well those shots are working. The easing guidance is likely to open the door to confusion, however, since there is no surefire way for businesses or others to distinguish between those fully vaccinated and those who are not. Walensky said those who are not fully vaccinated should continue to wear masks indoors. To date, about 154 million Americans, more than 46% of the population, have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccines, and more than 117 million are fully vaccinated. In more national news, gas crunch continues across much of the U.S. after a pipeline hack. Gas pumps remain shrouded by plastic bags on Thursday at thousands of service stations across more than a dozen U.S. states, but the situation could improve as a pipeline company reported substantial progress in resuming operations after a computer hack led to its shutdown. Nearly 70% of North Carolina's gas stations on Thursday were still without fuel amid panic buying, as were about half the stations in South Carolina and Georgia, GasBuddy.com reported. Drivers on the East Coast were also having trouble with more than half the stations tapped out in Virginia. Washington, D.C. was among the hardest hit on Thursday, with 73% of stations out, the site's tracking service showed. In a Thursday update, the Georgia-based pipeline company said gasoline delivery is now underway in most of its markets. In more national news, U.S. jobless claims sink to 473,000 as more GOP governors bar aid. The number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits fell last week to 473,000, a new pandemic low, and the latest evidence that fewer employers are cutting jobs as consumers ramp up spending and more businesses reopen. The decline, the fourth in the past 5 weeks, coincides with a rash of states led by Republican governors that have blamed expanded jobless benefits for a slowdown in hiring and are acting to cut off the additional aid. And finally, in entertainment news, Stacey Abrams adds producer to her resume with book deal. Stacey Abrams' new political thriller was snapped up for a small screen adaptation. The rights for While Justice Sleeps will go to Working Title Television, part of NBC Universal International Studios. It was announced this week, the day of the novel's release by Penguin Random House. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Refine your personal philosophy. It is only through truly open-minded, ongoing reflection that we can effectively develop a refined personal philosophy to guide you throughout your life. Your needs, as well as the needs of every life, are dynamic. It is impossible to find spiritual satisfaction and relevance in a single solitary system of belief when, as you explore the various philosophies fashioned by wise individuals throughout history, you need to compare them to your situation in the present. You are now equipped to borrow elements from numerous value systems in order to craft a personal philosophy that will work for you. The Bible is the best reference to follow, yet you must adapt what is taught to your own life. Today, choose to study a variety of philosophies and ideologies to aid you in your own life. And remember, enjoy the day.
Entrepreneur and author Will Roundtree is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Entrepreneur and author Will Roundtree joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about what it's been like for him to look at his success and all he's been able to achieve and those he's helped. Here's a bit of our conversation.
You are a great example about it's not about where you start, it's where you choose to go. And you made a choice for yourself. What has it been like for you to see the way that choice has paid off for you, Will? Not only in what you've been able to do professionally, but also in what you've been able to show other people is possible.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you for asking that. So one of the many things I've learned a long time ago is that the decisions you made 3 to 5 years ago are a direct reflection of where you are today. And so I've always just tried to pride myself on always making sound decisions. Now, they don't always go the way I want them to go, or the outcome or result doesn't always come to fruition. But I'm always looking at, okay, whatever I decide today, will it make sense in the next 3 to 5 years? You know, I've been on this journey for about 17 years, and, coming from the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I never could have even fathomed being where I'm at. And having the opportunity to being blessed and, not only just from a financial standpoint, but to be able to see the world, being able to travel. My thing is to always be able to give back in the form of inspiration, because that's one of the things that I feel that a lot of people lack. A lot of people work hard. A lot of people have goals. A lot of people have dreams, aspirations. But the one thing we lack, because of the amount of negativity we deal with on a day-to-day, is inspiration. And so that's my way of giving back, not just from a motivational standpoint, but actually giving people solutions on how to get to that next step in their life, and just using my story as a testament of, hey, if I can do it, you can do it.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. But we'll be with you guys on Monday with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.